Good morning, everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me. The sound levels look like you can hear me. I just wanted to say hello. This is a live session today. I know I've been doing some pre-records, but that's because I've been doing lots of other teaching, and Sunday's been my family day. But today I'm home alone. So I'm joining you live today, and next week there's going to be a test of a live Q&A because I've been asked to do a question and answer session. So I thought I'd test it next week, see if it works, but I'll let you know about that later on. Anyway, we're going to start the practice, so get yourself settled and I'll join you on the mat on my other camera. Okay, so if you sit yourself down, this is going to be a level 1 standing poses practice, which basically means we'll do the lateral standing poses. If anyone is feeling tired or unwell or a bit low in energy, then use the wall, use a chair, whatever you need so that you can support yourself. We will be finishing with some supine poses as well, so there'll be a kind of mixture of active and restorative practice. Okay, so we'll start. Take your hands beside you and sit nice and tall. Pin your shoulders back. Lift up through the sides of the body. Bring the arms forward so the palms can press together in front of the chest, and we'll take the invocation to Patanjali first. So closing the eyes from top to bottom, draw the senses inwards. And then I'll chant the invocation. Yogena citasya padena vacham malam sharirasya javaidyakena yopa karotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankachakra siddharinam Sahasra shirasam svetam pranamami patanjalim Hari Om. Now maintain the lift in the chest, bow the head down into the space of the heart, releasing the shoulders away from the ears, release the hands to the thighs. Gently raise the head, open the eyes. Okay, and extend your legs forwards. Alright, so we'll start with our Adho Mukha Virasana, so take whatever support you need for your knees, for your head, and we'll start with that pose. So I'm going to take a blanket and if you go to the back edge of your mat, you'll then be ready for Adho Mukha Svanasana. So knees facing straight forwards, outer hips rolling back, trying to keep the buttocks down low on the heels, but turn the heels out, so make sure the heels aren't rolling towards each other. And then go forwards. And take a moment to let the body open. And lengthen the front body before taking the head down, palms flat, arms extended. So just a gradual extension of the arms and the front body, side body. Keep the toes pressing down, shin bones pressing down. And then come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana. See that your hands are even. Pay a bit of more attention to the pressure on the knuckles there.
And then take yourself up into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So it's a good idea to lift the heels first, get the height, so as if you're trying to make a point, a peak of the tailbone, rather like one of those pointer dogs with their tails going straight up towards the ceiling before you then roll the heels back and down towards the floor. Strong, straight arms and legs. Soft, slow inhalation, soft, slow exhalation. And then walk your feet forwards towards your hands. So it's often the case that the feet come narrow when you walk in from dog. So maintain the feet, your dog pose width, let's say, and then hold the backs of the legs, hold the ankles if you can, or hold the backs of the legs. If you've got lower back issue, you can go to do the half forward bend at the wall or a chair. Otherwise, do the full Uttanasana extension down to your capacity, opening out the backs of the knees. So it's feeling that space at the back of the knee coming, broadening the hamstrings, calf muscle lengthening down, broaden the elbows and draw the body inwards. And then raise the chest and come up and stand up. Okay, so we're going to take all the lateral standing poses. So that will include Trikonasana, Parsvakonasana, Ardha Chandrasana. So if you need the wall for balance, make sure you've cleared your space so that you can practice along with me. I'm going to put my back heel at the wall. It's my favourite way to do my standing poses. And you might benefit from this as well. So I'm going to put the back foot at the wall, which means I'm going to turn my back to you for the first one because we're doing Trikonasana with the left foot to the wall first. And if you have a lower back issue, take a brick, tall brick, or a chair, okay, so that you're not reaching down towards the floor necessarily. Okay, so, I've got to turn this way, haven't I? Yes. So your left foot to the wall, if you're doing it this way, right leg away, buttock flesh down, top thighs back. We'll turn that leg completely out from inside out, keeping the outer left heel pressing back into the wall, and then go down, Trikonasana to the right side. So the outer right buttock, you have to think of that moving in, groin opening at the front, and the wall is giving that action on the back leg as you press the outer heel back and down. And then come up, turn the feet, change sides. So the outer right foot is back, left leg is out to the side. See that it's the same distance. Turn that left leg, making sure you've got that alignment there, because it's easy to forget, even as you get more practiced. Sometimes we're the worst ones for bad habits, aren't we? So make sure that you maintain that alignment, and then extend the left arm, yes. Keep the outer right foot pressing into the wall. Take the hand down onto the brick, and if you can, take the top arm up. But obviously, shoulder issue people, you need to maybe keep the arm here or keep the hand on the hip. So don't let the body fall onto the hand. Keep a lift of the chest, turning, rolling the left shoulder back. All the actions that you learn from your teachers, that you practice during the week. This is your chance for a more silent, quiet practice.
and then come up, hand to the wall, turn the feet in. Okay, so Virabhadrasana 2, we'll do exactly the same way with the back foot of the wall, or I'm doing it the same way, you can do it in the middle of the room. So you need to make the stride big enough to accommodate the bend in that leg, that rotation in that leg. Has to be there, and then you take the bend, keeping the back leg heel at the wall, and then you can touch the wall. If your foot is at the wall and there's a, the wall comes down there, if you haven't got a gap there, you can touch the fingertips, and that way you don't lean towards that opposite hip, and then stretch the other arm out. So it feels strange having my back to the camera, but of course I can't see you anyway. It gives you a chance to see the back body if you're looking at the camera. Otherwise you might be concentrating on your own pose, of course, and just listening. All right, and then straighten that right leg and change. So the outer right foot back, left leg striding out, turn the leg. Right fingertips at the wall. So the outer right foot, I always try to remind myself to tuck it down and back, rather than just, if it goes up, the hip tends to get loose and go and roll that way. If you press the outer edge of the foot down, it maintains that rotation of the back leg. It's really quite powerful to do it with the wall. And then left leg bending. You have to work hard to get that extension between the two legs, and not to do this. So I've got to really work on pressing my fingers back into that wall, stretching across the two sides of the chest. And then come up, turn the feet, and walk the legs back together. Let's just take Uttanasana for the moment. If you need to do halfway to the wall, you've got the wall there, you can walk back to the half forward bend. Otherwise, we'll take the arms up. This time, Urdhva Hastasana. Grab the elbows, lift the elbow bones up, and then come forwards and down. And then release the arms, lift the head, chest, and come up and stand up. All right, so Parsvakonasana, which in a way is a combination between those two poses. If you think about it, you've got the extension of the body and you've got the bend of the leg. So let's take the brick there again, unless you're taking your hand to the floor today. So I'm pinning that left leg back, getting the rotation of the right leg, groins opening, buttock flesh moving down, then bend the right leg. Now, instead of just dropping the hand down, how about making that extension? So extend the arms, as if so do Virabhadrasana 2, and now extend the trunk, but feel the drawing back of that outer right thigh towards the hip so it doesn't come back. So draw that back as you extend the body along the right leg, and then bring the hand down onto your brick. The left arm either back, bent, straight up, or if you can, bring it over. And there's that Parsvakona, the side angle. Now, to challenge yourself a bit more, when you come up, don't lift your left arm, lift your right arm, keep your body still in the same place. See if you can come up to Vira 2, and then straighten the left leg, straighten the leg and come out. Did you get that? So instead of just coming up and out, you take the right arm off, so your body's still lengthening away, and then you lift the trunk up, but you keep the leg bent, so it's really strong in the leg. Okay, so right leg back, left leg out, turn. Fingertips at the wall. So first you've got Virabhadrasana 2 action. So to get that back leg to really extend here, this is the tight bit here for me, I don't know about you, but that has to press from front to back, the heel back, outer edge of the foot down. Then there's that extension that has to come here from the inner groin to the inner knee. So we're there, and then we extend and reach out without losing that bend in the leg, pressing the left hand down. Then roll the right shoulder back, and if you can, take the arm up and over. So keeping the foot at the back of the wall there stops you from collapsing your right hip socket, which was a question that was asked this week about the back leg. Okay, so the left arm is going to come up now. Then we're going to come up, but we're not disturbing this leg. Fingertips touching the wall, and then straighten the leg and walk your feet in. So it's very warming for the thigh muscles, strengthening for the hips. Okay, so just bring your feet into Tadasana. I don't know about you, but I'm getting nice and warm now. It's a bit cold when I started. Okay, so from there we take Ardha Chandrasana. Ardha Chandrasana. So for Ardha Chandrasana, if you don't have the balance, just use the wall. So you can put your standing leg foot parallel to the wall, about a brick width only, and then you just go up into the pose like that. Okay, you can do it that way. If you're doing it in the middle of the room, I will attempt to do it in the middle of the room. I might not speak to you for a bit because I have to focus. Then make sure you've got room to do it, and I don't tend to use a brick for this, but if you do use a brick, try and have it on a flat edge like that rather than the tall edge, is my recommendation. Okay, so I'm going to go over here so that I've got room, and I'm definitely not going to mirror you, I'm afraid, because I need to do my right side first. Okay, so Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Chandra is moon, Ardha is half. So I'm going to jump the legs wide for Trikonasana. So I hope you're doing this with me. I'm not demoing. This is a guided practice, remember. So if I'm going to demo, I'll say I'm demoing, but hopefully everyone knows this pose, Ardha Chandrasana, one-legged pose. Now, I'm going to keep my left arm up, but you might want to bring your hand down, and then we'll bend the leg, hop that leg in, take the hand quite far forwards, lean into the hand, and then lift up. When you come back, try and come back into a good Trikonasana. And then come up and go to the centre of the mat. So if you're at the wall, you can just go up, but keep the top leg heel on the wall. Don't have it in the middle of the room. And make sure your standing leg is no wider than that from the wall. That's about your buttock depth, okay? And that's because if it's further away, you'll be leaning onto your hip socket and your hip won't like it. Okay, second side. Oops, I don't think I've left enough room. So check that you've got enough room too, because the hand will come a little bit off the mat, probably. Again, either keep the top arm up or bring the hand alongside. And then we'll go in. So try not to disturb either the hip or the foot as you go up. So keep gripping that left buttock in. left outer hip socket in. Oops, and this side is much more tricky for me because this is my looser hip, so I have to work harder to really grip the hip and open the groin, and then the balance will come. If I don't do that, I definitely have a trouble falling over. Okay, and then that's enough wobbling. Trikonasana, and then up. So to learn the difference between your two sides and why there is that difference, you know, that's part of the journey, isn't it? To know yourself and understand why, and not get fed up with falling over, but say, okay, well, why is it happening? Can I just take a step back and, you know, go more slowly through the pose and find out when does the wobbling start? Usually for me, it's when I start talking on that side, because I lose concentration of what I'm doing with that hip. As soon as I grip that hip, you know, I can feel this part opening, this opening, and then the alignment comes better. On the other side, it's different. So, okay, let's do Uttanasana again, but can you remember which cross you had of the elbow? So reach the arms up, grab the most familiar one, and then change the cross. Now, as you pull your elbows up, lift your kneecaps as well. Come forwards, Uttanasana. Or do the half Uttanasana at the wall if you need to. Okay, and then release the arms. Now, don't throw your head up, but think of lifting from the collarbones with the head coming with, and stand up. So we've got one more standing pose that I'd like to do. I think that's all the lateral standing poses. I'm sure I haven't forgotten one. But we're going to do Prasarita Padottanasana in preparation for head balance. And I've got an alternative for head balance as well. So I'm going to do head balance today. Normally, or lately, I haven't been doing the inversions. But I've had a look at who's coming today. That's why I have you sign in, so I can see who's coming. And most of you have regular practice of inversions, I think. Some of you not. But there will be an alternative as well. But everybody's going to do Prasarita Padottanasana. So if you want to put your head on the floor, or you want to put your head on something, get a brick. If you're doing it halfway to the chair, get a chair. So take your feet wide, and out of one of my good habits, I always put my heels on the back edge of the mat so that I can align my feet really well and feel the back of the heel pressing down. Go forwards, take the hands under the shoulders first. Just be there a moment or two. And instead of looking forwards with your eyes, look forwards with your collarbones. Get those thighs to lift up. Watch one thigh might drop more than the other, so you have to encourage both thighs to lift evenly. Press the top of the thigh bone back, and then bending the elbows, draw the head down. If you need support, take a blanket, take a brick, or maybe the head will come down. But don't widen your legs too much to get the head down. Instead, work on lengthening the trunk. Keep a firm grip of the outer hips. Don't let your knees go soggy. Press the hands and roll the shoulder blades. Press the shoulder blades towards the front body. Lift the trapezius muscles up and grip the outer shoulder bones in, as if you're trying to grip a brick between the inner elbows. That will help the head of the humerus bone to connect better. Feel the width of your buttock bones, inner back groins hitting back and out. Now when you start to come up, see if you can come up gripping those hips. So start by straightening the arms, keep the hands back. And then as if someone's picking you up by the collarbones, can you stand up
and then walk the feet back towards each other. Okay, now the alternative to your to your Shirshasana is chair Uttanasana with the buttocks at the wall. So you put your buttocks at the wall like this, so your legs are slanted away, about the same length as your foot. Okay, so not too far, not too close. Then you go forwards and take whatever support you need so that your head can be on the chair with the legs straight. And then you can fold the elbows. It's very nice actually. So that's your alternative to Shirshasana, okay? Otherwise you're going to do head balance. And it's not going to be a very long head balance because I want to time it with the same length of time as the people in Uttanasana. So I'm going to get my clock so that I can see. And you take whatever support you need. So if you're at the wall, be at the wall. If you've got ropes at home, well, there probably isn't time. By the time we got into the ropes, it'll be time to come out again. So just probably do a straight Shirshasana today. And this is not the class to learn Shirshasana. This is the class to practice it. So if you're not practicing it already, I would advise you to go to your teacher and practice it when they can see you, even if they see you on screen, so that they can check that you're okay. And you don't practice Shirshasana when you have your period. Okay. Not in our system. Okay, so there's the starting timer. So go up now and we'll take 2 minutes here or be in Uttanasana. And actually I'm not going to speak during this next minute and 45 seconds to rest my voice. It's not good to do that while you're upside down. That's 1 minute. So that's 2 minutes. If you want to stay for another half a minute, then do. If you want to come down and be in Adho Mukha Virasana. Same for those doing Uttanasana. You could go down into Adho Mukha Virasana. So that's kneeling on the floor. Rest your head on a bolster or a blanket and let your arms relax behind you. All right, so we'll slowly come out. I know it's a short Shirshasana for some of you, but you can always do a longer one later. And if you're watching the recording of this, you can always stop the recording. Okay, and then lift your head and come up. So we're going to take some supine poses. The first one is going to be Supta Swastikasana. And if you have a back problem, you might prefer to be flat on the floor or to have something like a folded blanket or a tri-folded blanket, just a very small lift if you have a back problem. I know that when I had my sacroiliac problem, I couldn't tolerate a bolster lying flat, so I would have just a folded blanket, and that was perfect for me. So just a little advisory there. So I'm going to take this bolster for me. This is a nice flat bolster anyway. And we're going to, first of all, sit in Swastikasana for a moment or two. And now I'm going to cool down, so I have to put my jumper back on. I'm going to sit in Swastikasana first and then lie back in Supta Swastikasana, or the resting version of, not the full one. So make sure that you are going to be warm enough, because we will be mostly supine now for the last part of this session. And let's cross the right shin closest to you first. And do sit up well. I know it's lovely lying down. But sit first. Sit first. Gather yourself together. And then with a lifted body, and it's not that you're trying to throw your head back, but with a lifted body, put your hands down, roll your spine down. Once you get down and you've adjusted the blanket over the head, push the buttocks away, check that that bolster edge is not digging into your back. If you don't have a bolster, use something that's a similar shape, like two long blocks with a blanket on top, so that you've got a cylindrical shape for the body to lie on, so that the trunk is slightly elevated. And then release the arms. We will just release the arms for this one. We will take the arms over for the next couple of supines. So relax the arms fully. If there's a problem with the hips, you may need to support the outer thighs, of course, with blocks. And once you've settled, draw your attention to the breathing. Just follow the inhalation, exhalation with no particular emphasis, just to observe the inhale and observe the exhale. Keep the mouth, jaw, tongue, throat soft. Now, when you change legs, one of my favourite ways to do this, and I think it's very effective, is to keep the eyes closed, but to sit up and change the cross of the legs, so you start the two sides fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and sit up, but I'm keeping my eyes closed. And of course, you might be opening yours to look at the screen, but see if you can do the same as me. Just sit up with the eyes closed, listen to my voice rather than looking at the screen. And when you change the cross of the legs, spend a moment lifting the body up before you lie back. So there's a pause between each segment of the pose. And then pressing the palms into the floor, roll the spine down, adjust the buttocks, adjust the shoulders, and release the arms. There's no need to open the eyes, actually. Just feel your way into the second side of the pose. Give yourself a minute to settle because it will feel different depending on what's going on in your hips and your pelvis. But also our relationship between the two sides of our body and our brain is very different. And then press your palms to the floor, press your elbows down, push yourself up, and then gently open the eyes and extend your legs away. And then the second one we're going to do is Supta Virasana, which is quite a challenging pose for some people. So what I suggest you do, if you find this pose difficult, practice the seated version, all right? Practice sitting for a while, see if you can go maybe a little bit lower, on a lower height, and just practice with the hands either on the feet or the hands here with the eyes closed, okay? If you know that you need support, I definitely need support to be comfortable. I can lie flat, but that's with a working Supta Virasana, and I'm doing a more restful one today. Then I'd probably take a little bit more height on this bolster. So I'm going to go ahead and get a blanket. An extra blanket. And hope that that's enough. Sometimes it is. It depends on so many things. Sometimes I can lie really easily, and other days it's like, what happened to my legs? Who replaced them with metal? So the important thing with this pose, just for those of you that struggle, is not to do this. It's not Paryankarasana, okay? And even in Paryankarasana, we wouldn't throw the lumbar forwards like that or the head back. So I always keep my head this way so that I learn to stretch the back first and keep the knees down. And you start with the pressing elbows. And when the lower back touches the lift, spread it. Think about the lower back spreading. So I spread my elbows out to try and get that spreading action. And then the arms come here, and then the tightness manifests in those thighs there. But you just have to wait a little while. And actually, talking of weight, the other weight, you can put weights on your thighs, of course. And those that can manage, you can take the arms over, but then fold the elbows. If you're flat on the floor, you stretch the arms straight. If you're lifted, you have the elbows folded. And you'll find if it's strenuous, if you're working hard, the eyes won't close that easily. So don't force them to close, but soften the eyes. And as the body softens, then the eyes will gently close. And those that are sitting up, see that you've got a good seat, that your feet are going straight back, that you're not throwing your lumbar forwards, so keep the buttock flesh moving down, away from the sacrum, draw the front hip bones back. Actually, it's the same when you're lying down. And close the eyes even if you're sitting up as well, and just be there. Focus on the breath, long, slow, deep inhalation, long, slow, deep exhalation. Those lying down straight, change the cross of your elbows. And then bring your arms back beside your feet. See if you can push up with both sides of the trunk evenly, so don't rock from side to side. Again, pause for a moment and then lean to one side, bring your feet off to the other side and stretch out the legs carefully. So in other words, don't slam your knees down, but push the heel bones down and then gradually open the backs of the knees. And see the colour coming back through the feet. Yeah. It looks like an optical illusion sometimes. You see all this sort of colour change like a chameleon in the feet after Supta Virasana. Okay, so the final supine I'm going to do is Supta Baddha Konasana. So you need your belt for that. You may need to have your blanket rolls under your outer thighs if you struggle with the hips. And what other things can I tell you? Well, you probably know best what you need for this pose. I won't take as much height now because I don't need that support, but I'm going to take the belt over my head. Now, if you've got two belts and you are on your period, you should really be using two belts, one around each shin. So it goes, if you've got two belts, you put one around each leg like that and then you tighten it. Okay, that's if you've got your period. Otherwise you can use one belt. If you've only got one belt, it's not essential if you just do it now and again, but you'll just find it's a very different feeling, especially if you have a lot of pain during your period or heavy blood flow. The two belts just allows the pelvis to relax in a different way. It's quite profoundly different actually. So I always take a moment to draw the buttock flesh towards the heels a couple of times, and then I roll back carefully, making sure I haven't deviated from that straight line from the pelvis. Shoulder blades tucking, and again the arms, you can choose now whether you have the arms relaxed or whether you feel you want that extra extension. And if the arms are up here, then it's better not to be like that without support, because you won't relax. Your body will just keep holding. So better to have the arms here or put an extra bolster across so that the forearms can rest on something or a blanket roll or something like that. So Supta Baddha Konasana. And once you've got into position, closing the eyes, relax all the muscles around the face, relax the abdomen, relax the pelvic organs, the pelvic floor. Change the cross of the elbows. And then release the arms and gently open the eyes. The best way to come up is to lean on those elbows again and then roll up and sit up. And then take the belt off, or belts. Okay. Now we're going to do one forward bend, and that's Paschimottanasana. So for Paschimottanasana, have some support for the head. So that could be a chair, of course, if you're not able to go forwards very far. If you're very stiff, then what you need to do is sit up. Actually, I'll just show you something which I found really helpful for my very stiff students, and that is that we would sit them up even higher than this. You can put the bolster on top of blocks, and then feet under the chair, or even through like that, with the chair quite close, and then you put the bolster in front like that, and this is a really floppy bolster, but you'd bring the bolster here so that they could hold onto it and rest the head. So so something like this. It's not the best bolster to demonstrate with because it flops around, but then they could go forwards like that. You see, and they're hardly bending forwards, but they still you still feel that sense of letting go, because the harder you try to go, the more the body resists. So you have to find a way to say to the body, okay, just let go this far, and then the pose starts to improve, because you're still stretching your legs, you're still stretching here, yeah, but you're able to relax. So that's just another option for Paschimottanasana. But those that don't need that lift, I'm going to swap mine around. So I'll put my bolster across my legs. So horizontal lift on the legs. I'm going to take my feet apart like that and put the bolster that way. And I might take two, just because I'm always cautious about my lower back. So it's very good now, which is fantastic. Of course, you can use the belt if you need to, but otherwise, go forwards, and then you fold the elbows and release the forehead down. Okay, so that's the idea about the horizontal, is that you're going to initially go forwards and hold the feet to get that extension, and then fold the elbows and rest the head. Okay, your turn. I need to look at the time. So I'm going to see if I can time us here for 2 minutes, starting from now. So that's 1 minute. So you've got 1 minute to go. If it's becoming too intense, just sit in Dandasana but with the eyes closed. And then you can raise the head and just sit up, Dandasana, and then come out. Okay. Now I'm going to take Setu Bandha. So instead of Shavangasana today, we're going to do Setu Bandha, because we didn't do a very long Shirshasana. So Setu Bandha with the feet at the wall, with the whole body supported, so that you get a really good recuperative Setu Bandha, because again there's other ways to do this pose
The full pose is done with no supports at all, of course. So what I'm going to, let me just put that over there. What I'm going to do for myself, I'm going to put, I think, yes, this is what I did the other day. I'm going to put this bolster at the end, like that, and then you've got to make the support so it's about the same height. Everything's the same height. So this is the equivalent of a Setu Bandha bench, right? Setu Bandha bench is a long wooden bench, like a gym bench, but it's about the length of a person. And then you've got a curved box on the end of it or not. And that's what you lie on for Setu Bandha, for a supported Setu Bandha, amongst other things. So this is my lift. And I'm going to put this other blanket, I think, along there. So this is really just to show the prep for some of you who are not all that familiar. There we go. So that's going to be more or less the right length, I think. And then we sit on that. Feet go up on the lift, but the legs are bent, remember. Don't go back with your legs straight. And I've got the edge of the bolster underneath my back chest, and I slide down until my shoulders hit the floor. And then, look at that. Perfect. The feet are at the wall, the shoulders are on the floor, the whole body is supported. So I know that because I've practiced it a lot, so I know what I need. So the only way to know, there's no blueprint, there's just you. You are the blueprint. You have to learn what combination of supports that you need. And of course, if you've got a Setu Bandha bench, then go ahead and use that. But sometimes, use the props, because then you know if you're stuck without your bench, you can make your own. Okay, so Setu Bandha in your own time. If you don't have a lot of props, just have something where you can put the feet at the wall and maybe just have blocks under your pelvis. So it's not quite as supportive, but you'll still have that nice feeling of, my legs feel like they're not having to work very hard. They're extended, but they're not down to the floor. And obviously for period, this is nice because this is all now level and open and soft. So there we are. So you can have a 2-minute Setu Bandha. And do make sure that you're really focusing on tucking the shoulders under, that you're not flat on your shoulder blades. Otherwise it will feel uncomfortable in the back. Let the breath settle into a quiet rhythm. One more minute now. All right, now when you start to come out, just, if you can, put your feet on the floor and then slide back without strangling yourself and let your bottom come to the floor and just cross your shins on the bolster, or just cross your shins if you don't have a bolster. And that will let the lower back kind of settle.
and then roll to your side, and then you can sit up. Now, before you do Shavasana, I just want to show you something, because this is to do with next week's Q&A. So hopefully you can see that. So next Sunday at 10 o'clock, oh, it's Valentine's Day, on YouTube, I'm going to do a Q&A, or it's more a discussion, because I'm not presenting myself as any kind of expert, just a chance for you to send in your comments, or send an email beforehand. You can comment live on YouTube and I will see it and respond to it, okay? So that's next Sunday. It's open to any Iyengar student, preferably someone I'm working with, but it's open to everybody. So that will be a separate link which will be sent out onto the Facebook channel and onto the YouTube. If you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, it will be on there, and if not, just send me an email, okay? And we'll be doing things like, for example, I can bring up, oh, that's not right, hang on. So this is where the experimentation goes a bit wrong. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so there you got it. So things like, if someone asks me a question about a pose, I can bring up a picture, I can talk about it with a bit more detail than just sending you an email. So that's the idea about that. Okay, so you can get ready for your Shavasana now and lie down. And I'm going to join you for Shavasana for 2 minutes, and then we will end the session. So have your space nice and clear. And if you need to have support on your thighs, like a heavy bolster with sandbag weights, then you can do that. I shall show you that because it's really nice to do it. So if you've got one of these sandbags, you can get the covers made, or you can get these ready-made from Yoga Matters. That's about 8 kilos, I think. And you know, if you've got restless legs or tired, tight hamstrings, bolster over the thighs, sandbag weight on the legs, roll the spine down, blanket under the head. And then this just tells the legs to relax and let go. Okay, your turn, Shavasana. Make sure you're warm enough, and do let yourself at least have a 2-minute Shavasana, if not a 7-minute Shavasana. It's very easy for us to think that we can leave this out, but actually this is really important. This is where everything gets percolated, all that work. The energy of that work kind of seeps into the cells of the body, and the nervous system, the nerves get rested. But also the mind is rested, the brain energy is quieter. And you'll find that sometimes this is just what you need to refresh the body. Even if you didn't sleep very well, 7-minute Shavasana can often, or even 15 minutes, can give you the feeling as if you had a few hours sleep. If you get distracted, draw inwards towards the body and the breath, and just feel your body on the floor. Feel the breath moving through the nose. Feel the change between the inhalation and the exhalation, and the change of pressure as you breathe in and out. So when you're ready to come out, you just place your hands on your belly first. Of course, those of you that are staying, just stay. And then when you start to come out of the pose, you roll to the side, and then you keep rolling. So you look to the floor as you come up. So I'll leave you there in your Shavasana. Have a great Sunday. Bye for now.